Throughout our country's illustrious history, brave men and women have defended our freedom, sacrificing their hopes, dreams, youth, even their very lives. Some of the most poignant images of courage arise from the ashes of World War II, when thousands of countrymen answered the call to arms with a patriotic voice. Wendover Airfield's dramatic history emerges in the pre-war days of 1939, when the United States Army Air Corps designated over 1.8 million acres of wilderness in Utah's western desert as a site for bombing and gunnery ranges. A remnant of ancient Lake Bonneville, the Great Salt Flats geography and landscape rendered this an ideal location for a detachment base, isolated yet within flying range of important ports of the West Coast. Construction of runways started slowly in 1940, but following the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the base expanded in a blitz of construction. In April 1942, the 306th Bombardment Group with 4 squadrons of B-17 Flying Fortresses arrived at Wendover. Over the next 3 years, 20 more B-17 and B-24 heavy bomber groups and 1 P-47 fighter group came to train at the secluded range, the largest military reserve in the world. Over 1,000 crews trained at Wendover before flying combat missions around the world. Every man was a hero in his own right. Some even received the Medal of Honor. Wendover's exceptional gunnery range was unequaled in the military. General Douglas MacArthur praised Wendover's servicemen as the best trained gunners in the Army. In late 1943, Wendover Air Base was home to nearly 20,000 military personnel and civilians. 668 buildings, many covered with tar paper, dotted this arid post. Apart from offices, barracks, machine shops, and hangars, the base consisted of a 300-bed hospital, gym, swimming pool, library, theaters, general and officers' mess hall, and chapel. Wendover was about to become the single U.S. airfield that would contribute to the most important event of the 20th century. With the Manhattan Project's development of the atomic bomb, the Army Air Force prepared for the weapon's delivery. Colonel Paul W. Tibbets Jr. selected this desert oasis in the fall of 1944 for this top-secret mission for its isolated and secretive location. The B-29 hangar on the field was built under the direction of Colonel Tibbets to maintain and modify the B-29s for the atomic missions. The 216th Base Unit assembled over 150 prototypes of the Little Boy and Fat Man bombs, which were test-dropped on the Wendover and Salton Sea ranges. While nuclear material was not used in these tests, critical assembly and testing of the bombs and their complex clock, barometric, and radar systems was tested at Wendover. The 509th Composite Group moved from Wendover to Tinian Island in the Marianas Islands in June of 1945, using a second set of B-29s known as Silver Plate that were specially built with modifications developed at Wendover. Ultimately, these airmen orchestrated one of the most decisive actions of military history, the first deployment of nuclear weapons. Japan was forced to admit defeat, and Wendover was a key element in the events which led to our World War II victory. Her people key players in a course that forever changed the world. Post-war use of historic Wendover Airfield included rocketry, guided missile training, munitions testing, and firefighting exercises. In 1975, the base was officially listed on the National Register of Historic Places. However, like a desert mirage, Wendover Airfield has been vanishing one structure at a time, although almost 100 of the original buildings survive. Unless we step forward now, this historic airfield will be swept away by the winds of time. The heart of a project to restore, not recreate Wendover Airfield is a noble one. Unlike most museums, Wendover is the only World War II-era airfield with the entire front line of 6 hangars, operations building, control tower, fire station, Squadron, and many more World War II buildings still intact. It is the one remaining United States Army airfield of this size, which can be renovated, preserved, and used to teach future generations of Americans of our nation's heroism and duty. This will be a living history museum with hangars, tower, barracks, service club, dining hall, atomic bomb loading pits, gunnery range, vehicles, aircraft, and educational exhibits. With the support needed for the renovation of these facilities, Wendover Airfield is destined to become the National Army Air Forces Museum. Generous donations to the airfield's restoration project will preserve a distinguished vestige of history we cannot afford to forget. One of the historic buildings currently being renovated at the airfield is the Officers Club. In World War II, this building was used by the Army Air Forces officers for events and as a mess hall. It is being renovated to serve as an event hall open to the public and will be known as the John Brinkman Service Club in honor of this veteran who trained at Wendover. Perfect for weddings, reunions, parties, and meetings, this building will contain all the modern amenities in the original style of the 1940s. The new club will be a perfect way to utilize a large space and still dedicate the building to the men and women who served their country in World War II. Donations are still needed to renovate the other important historical buildings, including the B-29 hangar, which once housed the Enola Gay. The airfield and airport are currently maintained by commercial operations. Many local amenities are a short distance from Wendover Airfield, including the world-famous Bonneville Salt Flats Raceway and several four-star casinos. Many opportunities for revenue generation for Wendover Airfield will be available, from the Brinkman Club to air shows, club fly-ins, air races, use of the gunnery range, historic tours, overnight stays in barracks, and flights in World War II and jet aircraft. There are seemingly endless avenues of entertainment and historical knowledge available at Wendover Airfield. But we need your help. Walking these arid grounds of such historic importance, it is easy to see that this airfield deserves to be preserved for future generations to learn and appreciate its key role in the events that shaped the 20th century. Everyone who has ever walked the desert paths of historic Wendover Airfield has a story to tell. It's time we listened.